It turns out zombies have been Neo for a minute. But it's okay. Agent Smith fixed shotguns and now...
all of this just works.
Hey fellas, Mattsi here. Obviously the IndieStone dropped an update late the other night, and while it did not come with Build 42 multiplayer like I'm ever hopeful for, there were some pretty cool changes made, so let's get into a few of those. First off, we've got a ranged weapon overhaul. Sort of. I may or may not be sensationalizing it a little. All that happened was IndieStone allowed ranged weapon damage to make use of specific body part damage modifiers, bringing guns into the realm of how melee combat has been functioning. What does that mean?
Go for the head.
Next, I alluded to it in the intro, shotguns had a neat bug fix. You may or may not have noticed zombies dodging shotgun pellets, and if you didn't, lucky you. If you did, rejoice. Now your suffering is over. When you're aiming at a shotgun at a specific body part of a zombie, all other shotgun pellets will properly calculate their hits to other parts of the zombie. As IndieStone sadistically put it, every zombie will get what's coming, and I fear for Lurch. I know he's not a zombie, just shut up. Speaking of butlers, we've also got some quality of life features I really liked, such as double-clicking to eat, drink, smoke, or poison yourself. Which is a lie. IndieStone accounted for your stupidity, and you cannot eat rat poison. You also just shouldn't, for legal reasons, and because I care, kinda. Or the checkmark that appears after watching a VHS tape or listening to a CD. You'll also find opening a drink or a can of food now has the option to open and eat, instead of being two different commands you have to right-click. Now that is efficiency, and speaking of making things easier, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, PingPlayers. Their AI-powered hosting service allows you to set up a server in mere minutes for games like 7 Days to Die, Palworld, and Project Zomboid. If you need a server, check the description for my link and use the code MATSI35 for 35% off your order. Thank you again to the PingPlayers team, and back to the weird stuff. Because it only gets stranger from here. So, if you ever need to move a corpse, you can shove him in the trunk or the other seats. Like when you pass by a Jeep with a skeleton strapped into the back seat, and at first it's funny, and then he won't stop staring at you. Now, for all you folks who like worms. When your composters are indoors during the winter, worms will reproduce, which I think is gross, but I also agree reproducing inside during winter is the best place to do it. This will make it so that you have an abundance of bait for your fishing. That's what we'll call it. Now let's shift gears from worm romance to pure American horsepower. NASCAR cars are now spawning at the racetrack. All I need now is a cold beer, overpriced hot dog, and to hear those 4 beautiful words. Raise hail, praise Dale. 2 of you get that joke, and I know where both of you live. Speaking of my friends, we're all gonna love this change. You no longer have to go through the rigmarole of taking cigarettes out of a pack to smoke them. You can just chain smoke right there, all day. Thank God my lungs are digital. Now, if you'd rather craft than cough, you can now filter the crafting UI by required items and sorted by name. You might say that sounds awfully familiar to the already existing option to sort by name, but don't worry. By name was changed to alphabetically A to Z legally. Did you know? Project Zomboid is an isometric zombie survival game that now features a new trait called Crafty, giving a 30% boost to EXP gained for crafting skills. I hope it's a welcome addition. Also, animal corpse highlighting, new sound effects for megaphones, and going through excruciating pain. New loot window buttons for organizing your car's trunks, and container renaming are all very welcome additions to this new patch. Did not keep that Did You Know Gaming bit going very long, did I? We'll be right back with more That's Mattsi. Have you ever needed a server? Have you thought about that before? Well, now back to your court-mandated That's Mattsi broadcast. With the additions out of the way, let's move on to some of the changes this patch brought. I'm not going into super great detail here, just hitting the ones that stuck out to me. We've got vehicular zombie slaughter, metabolic multipliers rebalance so you're not wasting the calories you're obviously tracking, and enough money in the budget for pyrotechnics. Remember, pipe bombs when you want to bang, not a barbecue, and Molotovs when you want to grill to kill, and aerosol bombs if you really want both. We've also got more quality of life changes to drying racks. They now hold many items instead of just one item many times. Additionally, chocolate milk makes you happy, which I already knew, but it's good to see Project Zomboid catching up. And there's a really good use for broken pipes. You can now use them to build pipe bombs, which are very cool. Another change has been made to non-weapon items, so they now display their sharpness, so that way you know which ones are worth using when crafting makeshift weapons. You're all doing that, right? They've also added pumpkins to more evolved recipes, which is great for all 3 of the women watching my channel. The spooky season is upon us, and to get myself in the mood this year, I've been watching Wednesday and listening to goth music. That's not a joke, and neither is this. IndieStone. Add 50-foot skeletons to Project Zomboid. The lawn decoration, not a giant enemy skeleton, just to be clear. Now, in terms of bug fixes, we've got a handful I want to go over, and then I'll let you go. First of all, driving no longer gives nimble XP. I don't think that was really a bug worth addressing, though, as I'm very deft with my steering wheel, and I like to think it's all the time I spend coming to from a quick disassociation on the road. And animals were getting confused and walking away from their deathbeds, but not to worry, we're setting them straight. Now, again, I was hoping for Build 42 multiplayer, but what I got was some neat changes and new stuff to tinker with. I've also got a neat sponsor that'll use code Mattsi35 for 35% off with the link in the description. Okay, thanks for watching, see ya!